Yeah, we've known about you guys probably since the very beginning, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, pretty early on. Hey, we launched the brand like we're a New Zealand company, but we actually launched in Germany at a trade show over there, and shortly we basically had this set of started the brand on a and then like committed to going to a trade show before we'd made a single product. Entered a competition called Brand New, where you can basically get your trade show booth paid for, and on the strength of a few line drawings and some promises, they let us in, and turned up with a bunch of samples and tried to start a business. Shortly after, met the guys from Carryology, and just clicked. You know, it was good.
Yeah, it's definitely felt like a really easy friendship for sure. Friendship is definitely the word I would use. That blossomed very early on, but yeah, it's been fun getting to know you. For you guys watching, Kim and I have hung out. I don't know. We've always hung out either in Salt Lake City or Denver at the outdoor retailer trade shows. Myself and the Carryology team have been hanging out with Alchemy equipment for some time now, and they're great people. But so first question I have for you, and it's an important one. Okay.
Okay.
And now, just so everyone knows, I gave Cam like a little update on some questions early on, just so he could know what we're talking about, and I wouldn't kind of sideswipe him. And we will be taking questions from the comments. I think they're below. They might be up. I'm not sure. But I am going to throw in a curveball just so you have no idea what's going to be happening here. What's up?
No doubt.
What's up, Lorenzo? This is an important one. And this might be the toughest one ever.
Tacos or pizza?
Choose one.
Well, I'd have to go. For me, okay, go on.
You have to choose one. This is impossible for me. I could never do this.
Well, it would be an easy thing for me, as we don't really have many good places to buy tacos here in New Zealand.
Okay.
So every opportunity, I'm reaching for a taco.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you choose tacos because you cannot get them.
It's a supply and demand thing. I've had some great experience. I went backpacking through Mexico many years ago, and those street eateries and those $1 fish taco stands are amazing.
Yeah. So you do know about proper tacos. I'm glad.
I do.
Yeah. I've eaten tacos. I was actually, if anyone hasn't noticed, I have this beard that's on my face, and it hangs down here. So I've been to Norway for the World Beard and Mustache Championships before, and everything was so expensive there. And we went to a Mexican place in Norway, and it's by far the worst Mexican food I've ever had in my life. It was horrible. Someone says seafood pizza.
Yeah.
What do you think about seafood pizza? I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, no, I'm down for that. I'm down for good marinara pizza. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. That's a big one. That says a lot about you and the brand.
Yeah, all right. I'm up. I'm ready for it, mate.
So why did you start Alchemy Equipment? Like, is this just some driving thing that was in your soul that you had to get out of you, or, why'd you start it? Why? When you could work at a job or, do anything else, why'd you start Alchemy?
I had worked in a job for a long time. I had, of course. So Alchemy Equipment's six years and 20 years old, I suppose. So for that 20 years before, I'd worked as a designer, creative director for a number of outdoor businesses based down here. Cut my teeth with a company called Handmade. I started with them. They're now quite a big business, but in my day we were five stores, and I was the product team. I was the designer and the buyer, and it was a different size business then. Was with them for a long time. Met a girl, and she wanted to move to Australia, so we went to Australia, and there I joined another company called Mountain Designs, and spent a good 4 years in a completely different business, learning about completely different way of doing business. Catmandu was very intuitive, and Mountain Designs was very structured. So that kind of, I worked for an accountant there, so it was a completely different way of doing it. And then got an opportunity to buy a brand that was sort of dead, a New Zealand brand called Carrydown, and then another opportunity came about where the owner of another New Zealand company called MacPack was looking to exit. So this was before the global financial crisis, where banks were lending money on good business cases and promises. So we were lucky enough to purchase MacPack, built that up to a different size, and then getting up to the bit that answers your question, I was shafted.
Yeah.
One of the partners in the business, there was a big inequity, ended up on the good side of a difference of opinion. So I was sort of left wondering what to do next. But through habit, I flew over to Salt Lake, walked out to a retailer, and had a look around and chatted to a few people. Take him, a mutual friend of ours.
Yeah, take him.
He's kind of had a different yet similar path. He was, working for a big company, the North Face, and he left and started his own small business. So I went to visit him in San Fran and hung out there, and just thought there's something about this that I really liked, like a small company, design driven, and came back and started one. That's basic. And I've always had an appreciation for I guess the products that I was able to develop for the other companies that weren't so bound by price or whatever things. So an opportunity to see if your ideas actually could be products, and if those products could make a business, I guess.
Sure. Okay. Can answer it. And for anyone that doesn't know who Take Him is, he's from the longer. They're still doing stuff with A-Light, which is good because I'm a big fan of their stuff. Another quick request. Are you outside right now? Can everyone see beautiful New Zealand?
I'm not outside, but I can.
Okay. We'll do that later. All right, I got to see this yesterday, and it was gorgeous.
Heavy cloud today, so.
Oh, no good. That's my parents saying pizza for breakfast, by the way. So here's a good one. So what's your personal definition of this word carry? And of course we have our own definition, and ours is a noun and a verb, but what does that mean to you? What does carry mean?
Oh, look, man, I haven't spent as much time contemplating that as I'll follow your guys' lead, really. I mean, it's I don't know. I can add any value to that answer. Yeah. Sorry, but
no. You have something to think about. We'll have to do a part 2.
Yeah, okay.
What is carry? I mean, as we define it, if anyone that doesn't know, it's a noun and a verb, and it can mean, for me, the definition of carry is almost my blue jeans, because it carries the most important things that I wear. But then, packs can also be carrying, like the actual pack itself can be carry, but the method of carrying it is also carry. We're going to get to that question. Athens, Greece, we're going to get to that question, don't worry. So tell me, what do you carry on the day? I mean, I know it's dramatically different than normal. You're not really carrying something from your bedroom to your home office, but what do you carry every day?
I actually am not overcomplicated at all, mate. I quite like looking at product dumps that people do, but mine would be really unimpressive. List of I've got a nice slim wallet, a Belroy one. I've got an iPhone and a bit of loose change and a bit of pocket lint. That's usually the all I can count on being on my everyday carry.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Do you know what ounce weight the pocket lint is? Like, is it like 2 ounce or?
Look, it's all from Japanese ring spun denim. That's all I can tell you. The rest, I have never actually.
Okay, Japanese. You guys heard it here, man. I'm a big denim head as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. We're going to take one from Athens, Greece. Respond to the new isolation living and mass culture.
How do we pivot our products? Well,
how do you pivot your product to respond to the isolation and mass culture?
We probably don't. We probably don't. Yeah. We're a New Zealand company, and I think we're very fortunate in New Zealand to have a particular response that's that whilst it's been a bit challenging to sit still for 4 weeks, and our version of lockdown is probably a bit more severe than what has it's played out globally, but our government's taking an eradication approach to COVID-19. So it's very, very, very plausible that a couple of weeks away there'll be no cases in New Zealand. We don't participate in the PPE production side of things. I mean, our sole contribution in this whole discussion is, well, we've opted not to ship product at this point in time. You know, I
saw your marketing campaign. It's kind of brilliant. In fact, it reminds me a little bit of the auto ads from the 1980s, where it's like, it's just very frank. It says you can wait. Yeah, well, it's very simple and it's kind of brilliant.
And it just was easy. It was easy. Both my children have grandparents that are highly susceptible to things going a bad way should they get infected. So if there was anything that we did that would create unnecessary movement in some way contributed to that I felt went against what a government's trying to achieve, then that wouldn't be defensible, I suppose. So we're just gonna just wait. People are still buying, and they're still adding things to the basket. We're gonna have a very busy first week back.
I bet.
I'm glad people said they can wait, because there's a little bit of a wait to deal with all the backlog. But yeah,
sure. And I think you're like me in a lot of ways, where we're both. I could be. How you holding up? Personally.
Oh, it's been good. I mean, I've got a nice family. I'm lucky enough to have a house that has an outlook of broader outlook. So my world's not just a small backyard. I can look out at the hills and the sea and stuff. I'm holding up all right. Spending time with the staff that's allowing us to get some productivity that's quite often slips through the cracks, like a bit more product training, a bit more talk on guest experience for our retail stores. Some crummy work too, like looking at cash flow and budgets.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
So let's go to the next one here. This is a tough one. I hope you're ready. So if you could carry one bag for the rest of your life, and you don't have to say it can't be your own. That's the spin on it. Can't be your own.
Okay, well, for travel, if it can't be my own, I quite like. I've got an Ortlieb wheeled duffel bag that's just bomb proof and so simple, and I'd find it very hard to give that up. That's a really nice piece.
That's straight utility right there.
Yeah. There's nothing but function on that thing. It hasn't tried to be anything other than honest about what it does, and no frills. And it's also quite serviceable too. Like the way they've put the frame on the outside, and the parts are accessible. If anything does die, you can deal with it. No,
sure.
So it may be less of a carry response than a pull around with me response, but probably that'd be the hardest piece to let go. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a good one. That's a good one. I've handled their bags. They make some quality stuff. I actually don't own any. If anyone from Ortlieb's watching. People are asking about this new AEL 222. You want to give them any hints or share any info?
Yeah, well, maybe they can tell me about it. So the 222 was an elevated version of our 22 with a few more nicer finishing details, and they're good. I mean, it's the first time for Alchemy equipment that would brought leather into a pack, and I really like working with leather. There'll be something in the works. There'll be something in the works. This COVID-19's interrupted a bit of the product development cycle for us. So things that anyone who jumps on the website can see we're out of stock of a few pieces, and that's not going to change in the next 2 to 3 months either. So it's really been the major interruption for us. Just keeping stock up of. Our suppliers have had to close down, and it's just been a bit tricky.
All right, let's see what else you got here. What's other than yourself again? What's your favorite carry brand right now? Why do you like it? Like, what inspires you? What other brands inspire you?
What brands inspire me?
Or what's your favorite brand? You know, maybe they don't inspire you at all. Maybe they're totally different.
Okay. Well, brand. I kind of like Santa Cruz bikes. It's probably not the answer you're looking for, but
no, carry brand. But that is a good answer. I do like Santa Cruz bikes too.
Look, we're talking about brand less than product perhaps. So it's brand. I like Bellroy. I like a lot about what the ethics, I guess, that communicated. I like the simplicity of and the honesty of the product, and the really clear communication about how you can interact with them. So they do a really good job there.
Sure.
Yeah, they're not too fussy. I kind of like brands that aren't too fussy. That aren't. Yeah.
Do you remember how Crumpler used to be back in the day? How they were just absolutely wild.
I know those guys really well, actually.
Okay.
Well, the founders, I was good mates with Stewie Crumpler, actually. In fact, I was the first customer of theirs.
Really?
When I was the buyer for Kathmandu, and we were the first retailer to pick them up.
Okay.
And then I hooked Stewie up with a manufacturer when they suddenly had some scale. So yeah, fond memories of those guys. They're early bags, like the CD1, the CD3 were. Yeah, they were great pieces. One piece of fabric, you know. And there was.
Yeah, that's very complex. It's not easy to do. A lot of people don't realize that. It looks so simple, but man, that is so damn hard.
Yeah.
Now, are they different than they've been? Do they sell, or I know their marketing is a little bit different than it used to be.
Yeah. Well, they joined with a couple of guys that really launched them, a couple of German fellows who got them into the camera business, and they kind of changed their focus from sort of urban courier bags to they followed the money, and did really well, and then they found a buyer. So the founders aren't involved anymore.
Okay.
The logos changed. What they started off, they were really subversive. Their whole marketing campaign was spray painting stencils all over Melbourne, over Sydney, and they had these fantastic beers for bags campaigns where you could come in with this CD3 pack would cost you 2 cases of Coronas and 3 lemons. They were fun. They were fun brand.
I do remember that. That was the coolest thing I think I've heard of in a long time in the bag industry.
Yeah.
Are you going to be doing Corona beers for bags anytime soon?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Participate, yeah.
Let's see. So, especially right now with all this COVID nonsense going on, I was going to curse, but I'm going to be cool. I'm going to try to not curse. With all this COVID stuff, what's going on? What gets you out of the bed in the morning? Like, I mean, it's tough.
It's usually Charlie.
Yeah.
Sometimes
you guys can hear kids running around back there.
Yeah, I got a 2-year-old and a just turned 5-year-old, so there's no danger of me not getting out of bed early. Don't worry.
It's kids and coffee, I'm assuming. Is that what you have right there?
Yeah, the kids get. I'm on breakfast duty.
Okay.
That's my gig. And
you're on coffee. I'm on whiskey.
Yeah, right. Different time of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. In your years of designing, what's the one little anecdote, maybe? You know, maybe it's a bunch of things. I don't know. I know I have a few personally.
Sure. I think what I've probably picked up that saves me and was really important, but I was lucky enough to switch onto at the start, is realizing I don't know anything, and and allowing people around me who did know things to share their knowledge. I remember car rides with fabric manufacturers in Vietnam who explained the relationship between denier and how a PU coating will stick. Like, I wanted this really burly fabric, explaining that the trade-off that would be, etc. I spent, in my first years at Kathmandu, I spent maybe 20% of my time sitting in the sample room, watching samples on its own, understand why that idea doesn't make sense to construct it that way. I was lucky enough to have some really good discussions with the guys from W.L. Gore, who explained how to build products as a system that would work in rainwear. I guess and I guess the thing that I think I've learned that stuck with me of knowledge than assuming that you're the holder of it, I think.
Yeah. I definitely started out the same way. I mean, I'm not sure if I thought I knew everything when I was younger, right out of college, about soft goods, but I definitely I realize now, having been in the industry for nearly 20 years, that I still don't know anything. You know, and I know a lot. But it's a hard realization to realize there's someone out there making some new fabric that we don't even know about this moment that is gonna blow minds.
Yeah, I think to me, a good design is having a clarity of what you want to achieve, and then perhaps I'm more of a design manager or director, but and then just trying to find all the ingredients around me that are going to help me get there, rather than thinking I have the answer.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I recently gave a speech on how messy desks were great for inspiration, because you have all these different things around you that you can bring in together, and I think that's really the magic, is keeping yourself open to all these different various inspirations, and then being able to pluck, different people's expertise, the materials, the processes into something that's cohesive.
I'm not sure if anyone who works with me is online at the moment, but they'll testify that I've never had a messy desk.
Oh, really? You're a clean desk guy?
Well, yeah. Why not?
Yeah. I try to have a clean desk. I really try. And then I get it all set up, give it like a day, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to work on this. And I got this guy. Yeah. Guys that are watching, hello. And this is Taylor and Campbell.
Oh, wait. My wife finding out who knows me is on. They're all calling me out for the messy desk.
Oh, yeah. She's making fun of you about your desk. So this is Taylor and Cam from, we're doing the Carry Heads QA. If you guys have any questions, we'll be happy to take them. Just keep pumping them in down below. I think they're below, and I'm not sure what they look like from your side. But we'll get to your questions in a second here. Everyone has a few solid mentors in their career. And thank you for Michael for supplying some of these questions. Michael's a genius. What's up, Michael? They've had solid mentors in their careers. Is there any specific mentor that you can think of that really inspired you or helped you get to where you are now?
Well, yes, there's I have to be honest and say there's a person who I've had a huge falling out with, that before we had the falling out was a mentor to me, and it gave me a good opportunity to learn about the business. However, that didn't pan out well, but but just the ability that she recognized something in me that was worth investing in time and effort, and giving me opportunities, and that was I think specifically in the bag business, I would have to say when I first started, there's a Kiwi backpack designer. He's a buddy of mine named Andy Milne, who was working for Fairy Down when I first came over, which the brand doesn't exist anymore. But I was really impressed with him. He's from a fine arts background, and he just going to see him at work. He'd in their patterning, and the way he went about things, he'd actually get a big polystyrene block and carve that block into a shape. He'd focus on form just because of his background. So he'd make a form, and then he'd just pin fabric to it, basically like you do on a garment on a form work. So it really took, there was, I don't think he had anyone to teach him that. That was just his way of solving a problem. And that was really, he always impressed me. And then because I think good design often happens when you're working with some sort of constraints. And the company he worked for was manufacturing in New Zealand, so they had to deal with quite a different cost of manufacturing to what a lot of the other companies were. So his constraint was he had to think about how many minutes went into sewing a product. So that comes down to simplifying how many pieces get cut, how many pieces get sewn together, how fast it can be assembled, and just through that constraint, he managed to make some really, really good product. Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah,
and a lot of people, and there's nothing wrong with not knowing this, but a lot of people think that there's some big magic button that you press at the factory for bags. They just come out of, but just like you're talking there, every single bag that any of you folks have that are watching, they're made by people, and they take hours and minutes, and there's a lot of effort that goes into hand making these. Whenever I see a brand say handmade, they're all handmade. Doesn't matter where they're made, they're going to be made by hand. And that is a big consideration. That's a really interesting way how he made it. Carving the form.
Yeah, it was very cool. It was very cool.
That's wild.
It was applying his training into the role.
Yeah, I'm trained as a classic industrial designer myself, and that's how we learned it. Is form, and you'd shape things, but of course that doesn't translate to soft goods. So that's really interesting.
Yep. Go buy yourself some polystyrene and a hot knife, mate.
Yeah. Oh man, my girlfriend would love that.
Smells great too.
Yeah, smelling up the room. So what's been your biggest challenge running your own brand? That's got to be difficult. I know I've thought about it many times, but I don't want to, I'm afraid.
It's hard. I guess mattering to people is and having your message heard. I mean, there's a lot of, I think we make a nice product, but to put it in front of somebody who's going to make a purchasing decision, there's a whole emotional decision-making process that has to happen there, and it's very hard to I didn't want to do initially. I didn't want to do any direct retail. I just wanted to just focus on brand and product and find good retailers to sell the product. And that started off. I had a good response because buyers buzzed off the product, but it's the hardest thing has been trying to try to matter to a consumer. We just didn't have. It's hard. I mean, some fantastic marketing is more important than product in this world, unfortunately. I mean, look at Coca-Cola. You can't tell me that's the best thing you can drink. And yet it owns the space. So I suppose the hardest thing is trying to reconcile the difference between what people need, yet what people choose, or what people should have, and yet what they opt for. You can't make that decision for them, and you've got to present your point of view in a way that can be heard, and so that it resonates. That's hard. It's either a big budget or a left field idea, or it's a slow grind. And I think probably we could have gone a bit harder at the start to own the space than what we did. We just sort of went for a slow burn approach, organic approach, cautious approach. So the hard bit has been just seeing. Yeah, the hardest bit has just been maintaining. There's a difference between how many people who bought our product often buy 3 or 4 more of them, right? So we have to get retention. It's just about customer acquisition, getting people to discover you and willing to take a punt on an unknown brand or a different idea. Yeah, storytelling. That's the hard bit, and maybe that's just where the skill set of my group of where I'm not naturally that person. I like product. Yeah, I like steak more than I like smoke. You know. Yeah.
I like a good story. We like telling the story. We like trying to help tell the story anyway. Yeah,
you do. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Oh, you're expert at it.
I don't think I'm an expert, but we try.
Well, the greater Carryology community are expert. You've created an environment where people who love a particular aspect come and you don't have to be you're not the center of discussion, but you facilitate a discussion. That's it's really cool.
Yeah, thank you. We have one question from Lord M. Peach here. He's talking about your past with Kathmandu, McKay, etc.
My past, did you say?
Yeah, your past experience with Kathmandu, McKay.
MacPack.
MacPack, yeah, MacPack.
Yeah.
Will you ever branch into hiking or hunting packs? I think I know the answer to this, but he's curious.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. No, not with Alchemy. You
know. Maybe a side thing,
a side project, or a different vehicle for it. But it's not what the Alchemy brand means. No. Yeah.
So Kevin Jazz is asking about how the Carryology collab came to be. Do you know Kevin Jazz?
Well, he's actually been a supporter of Alchemy equipment for quite a few years. Yeah. What was the question? How did the collab?
How did it come to be? Yeah, I mean, I think we covered it in the story, but we could two-part this one.
Well, I think there's a couple of guys in the Carryology office that had bought the AEL 002 and quite liked it, and so there was that element. And then I think Michael, the editor, went out to the community and said, which brands would you like to see us do a collab with next? And we were one of the names that was pulled out of the hat, and I said, yeah, I'm in.
Yep, and that was fun. I'm still really proud of that. That's a really cool pack.
Yep. Nice bag.
We have another question here. Let's I'm gonna try this out. I'm not sure how this works, so let's see. Boom. Any future bags in VX material, and I'll remove that from your face so it doesn't block you.
Yeah, I can just you just go. So I was using, humble brag, I was using Dimension polyant fabrics in about 1995, 96.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah. So there was this really clever guy. I don't know if you know Tetsuya Ohara, who I don't know where he is now. I know he left. He was at Dimension Polyant as a fabric development specialist. He later moved to Patagonia and did all sorts of clever textile development for them. But yeah, I was at Kathmandu at that time. Fabric that had like a 200 psi waterproofness, and Kathmandu was trying to find. We had a strong competitor in MacPack that owned the space in backpack. Trying to find a way where we could have a point of difference, a point of view, and yeah. So I think for a long time in my time at Kathmandu, we were the biggest purchasers of VX 21 and 51 and 1000.
Damn.
Will I go back to it? No, not necessarily. It has a lot of good points, and it has some challenges with it as well. But for the Alchemy brand, ultimately, I don't really think it's a very tactile pleasing fabric. It's got a very, we're going to start looking at laminating to spun yarn or some more natural feeling fibers, I'd be quite interested. But yeah, I don't think it's the right fabric for Alchemy equipment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe a VX with merino wool face.
Well, something like that. You know, just something that had a what Alchemy equipment currently means in most fabrics is there's a difference in the touch. It's a very you know, tactile brand. Yeah.
Yeah, someone actually mentions that above is the retail experience and then the feel and the detail of the product. We have about 10 more minutes here, guys. So if you have more questions, just pump them in below. We're going to take one from Lorenzo here. Would you consider something like this? Is it possible to have a career or some sort of experience at a soft goods company without a design background? Like, would you consider bringing someone on?
I don't have a design background, so yeah, it's possible.
Yeah. There you go. There's the answer. Yeah, a lot of people ask me that too, and you know, I'm fortunate to come from a design background, but getting to meet all these different people like yourself, you know, many people don't have a design background. I mean, I think being a human, a lot of people do have a design background. You know, if you're holding a phone and you're looking at it, you know, it's design.
There's no doubt people who've studied design or are very capable at communicating their ideas or got a head start. I mean, design's about articulating an idea or whatever. You know, the backward step. So, but you know, I watched a documentary about Raf Simmons when he joined Dior, and Raf Simmons doesn't draw. He designs sitting on a chair talking about what he wants and gets a group of people to draw it for him and interpret it, and it comes back. And so yeah, man, you can make it if you can't, if you're not a designer. As long as you've got a vision, an idea.
I think was it Frank Gehry? Some of his designs, they're just maybe I'm thinking of a different designer, but his designs, I mean, they're just scribbles on paper.
Right.
You know, then they translate to something beautiful, but you definitely don't need to, as long as you can communicate an idea to get from A to B. That's where the magic is in between these 2 points. You know, all this stuff, once you get to here, it's done. Kevin Jowls again. What's up, Kevin? How did One Bag Travel impact your brand specifically?
I mean, I think a lot of people have been traveling that way for a long time. It's just been a lot, probably the likes of Reddit and Carryology have just sort of amplified the benefits of traveling that way. Yeah, how did it impact us? Well, we've been lucky enough to have a bit of light shone on it over the years, and people have discovered it, and it's been a real engine room for our business. That piece.
That's a wonderful pack. I've used that on big trips before in the past.
It's still my go-to bag every time I go away. Yeah.
I think we have time for about 2 more questions. If anyone wants to drop one in, some sort of agency's asking for your email. I'm not going to share that.
If you're good, well, you can find it on the website, my man.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Not sure who this agency is. Let's see. Any other questions from the audience? Otherwise, I'll go back to mine. No?
I want to take this opportunity to be a salesman for a minute. If someone's hung out this long, you deserve a deal.
Yeah, there you go.
So what's this thing called? Carry heads, isn't it? Carry heads.
Yeah. Carry heads Q&A.
Carry heads. If you use the coupon carry heads on my website, you'll get a nice surprise in your basket.
Boom. Y'all hear that? Carry heads. Use that. Heard it here first.
24 hours only.
24 hours only? Okay, starting now. Well, unless we don't have any other questions, man, I think this was pretty fun. I don't want to bore anyone to death. You know, I think it's been a good amount of time, but I get a lot of thumbs up. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. Well, we're going to put this at the top of the stories, so you guys will be able to watch this later. And Thank you so much, Cam, for joining us.